There is some really weird cognitive dissonance running through this community. On the one hand, we've all seen videos, and I think we are all in agreement that the cops are typically uneducated on First Amendment matters, on federal laws, on the cops seem to know local laws fairly well in a general sense, but they're not educated on case law. Now, I personally don't think they should be. I know that other people believe they should. I think that's entirely unreasonable. There's a lot out there, and even lawyers don't know case law, generally speaking. I mean, if you're practicing a lot in a particularized field, you may know the various cases, like the real big cases that kind of control major aspects of that particular branch of law. But if but it's the criminal law itself is just enormous. There's a huge, wide ranging swath of territory that it covers. And to think that any officer or lawyer, for that matter, should know case law relevant to it to the point where they can cite names is a little ridiculous. I was admonished by my boss the other day because he was asking me questions about a particular aspect of property division in family law. You're welcome. And I started referring to cases by name: Inree the Marriage of Valley, Inree the Marriage of Moore, Inree the Marriage of Marsden, uh, Inree the Marriage of Branco, Inree the Marriage of Stoner. And he finally just looked at me and said, "You need to stop doing that." And I said, "Why do I need to stop doing that?" And he said, what was the instrument used in Inree the Marriage of Valley?" And I said, "Oh, it had to do with stocks, I think." He said, "Are you sure, or do you think?" And I said, "I think." And he said, "That's why you shouldn't do it unless you know the case forwards and backwards. All somebody has to do is ask you some particular bit of minutia on it, and it undermines your credibility on it. So instead of saying the name of the case, state the applicable rule of law." And that makes sense to me. And he's been doing it a lot longer time, and he catches other attorneys all the time being stupid and saying things they don't understand. So I think that's a particularly good idea. But I've wandered pretty far afield here. My point is that cops aren't particularly experts beyond the general nature of the law. The officer makes the arrest, and then a lawyer figures out whether or not to charge. And then a magistrate, who's also a lawyer, will figure out whether or not the charge is valid. Tends to be. Magistrates tend to be lawyers. Your particular state might have some weird rule. And then the district attorney or whatever prosecuting attorney will argue one side, and your defense attorney will argue another side, and a judge will make the ultimate determination of law. A jury may make the determination of fact or what have you. But my point is that cops aren't supposed to know the more particularized aspects of the law. And generally speaking, an attorney won't really know much outside of that attorney's particular area of what they deal with on a daily basis. Now, unlike most family law attorneys, I play around in the First Amendment all the time. Remember that being in family law wasn't my first choice. And again, it's not the only thing I do. I'm involved in criminal, not currently involved in criminal, but I've been involved in criminal. I'm involved in about 6 civil cases, one bankruptcy, a couple corporate law cases. So I dabble in a lot of things because my boss dabbles in a lot of things. We don't do immigration law, we don't do tax law, and we don't do workers' compensation law because either we don't have anybody with that particular expertise or it pays crap. So back to the cognitive dissonance of the community. Since we know that officers aren't experts on the law, why do we give a ex-jailer or a disgraced, fired police chief who lies on his resume, why do we as a community, #NotAll, give them any credence? Why do we think that these people are experts? That's cognitive dissonance, kids. And if you think that they are experts, then you have to reconcile why the other officers aren't. And if you say, well, these guys are experts because they support my view, and the other cops aren't experts because they're against my particular view, then essentially you're holding yourself out to be an expert, and you're probably not. So I just caution everybody against that. Now, beyond the cognitive dissonance aspect of it, I also have to point out that it is a fundamental error to judge someone based not on whether what they said was right or wrong with specificity, but to make a claim about their particular education. Now, I know that you guys take umbrage when an auditor states a law, and then the police officer says, "What law school did you graduate from? Are you an attorney?" Instantly, you say to yourself, and I guarantee this, you say, well, you don't have to be an attorney to know this particular aspect of the law. And I, as an attorney, agree with you. Anybody can know the law. #NotAll. There are some people who are incapable of doing it. You can't teach a dog physics, etc. But generally speaking, on a general level, most people can understand basic aspects of the law, definitely. Like, don't kill people, don't hit people, don't take other people's things. 99% of the world can understand that. The more complex the issue gets, the fewer people can grasp it, but still, you don't have to be a lawyer to grasp what a traditional public forum is, or how to figure out if you're trespassing or not in your particular state. So it is an unwarranted attack on the person to say that they're wrong because they lack experience. I could point out that this fine gentleman on my screen has exactly 0 years of law school. But that doesn't make any particular statement that he may make on the law wrong or right. It is unrelated to whether or not he's right or wrong. I could say that Texas or any other state have not tested him and found him to be suitable to be a lawyer in his knowledge, in his understanding, in his ability to interpret the law, and in his ability to predict a probable outcome of the law, to apply facts to the law, to issue spot, all those other wonderful things that they teach lawyers how to do. Nobody has yet accredited this man on it, but that doesn't make him wrong. This man doesn't even have 1 day's worth of experience of being a lawyer, let alone a year. But that, again, doesn't make him wrong. Now, in his guesses about why there was a stay ordered, we're not guessing. The court lays it out very clearly. One of the issues that the court addresses and yet says that they're not ruling on it is that there was an issue with Mr. Miller's YouTube posting. It was indicative of a problem that is going to probably cause the court to have to address it. But that's not the reason why the stay was issued. And it starts breaking it down on page roughly 8. And yes, it does include the younger the Younger Abstention Doctrine. Somewhere in here it says that. I think it's the Younger Abstention Doctrine, but I'm just a family law attorney. What do I know? But I did a breakdown on this. The court is not impressed with Mr. Miller's actions, and frankly, I don't blame them. The man acts like an idiot. He makes very stupid decisions. I'm not talking as a lawyer. I'm talking in general. You may remember that Mr. Miller pointed out that a lot of people have gone to the Texas Attorney General and have gotten the court/town hall or city hall distinction made clear as far as carrying in the building. So where the court was upstairs and the city hall was downstairs, you were allowed to carry downstairs because somebody, instead of carrying what appeared to experts, and yes, a police officer would be an expert at identifying if somebody's carrying a firearm, especially if it's a Glock, the same Glock that they use. Instead of carrying something that experts think looks like a weapon into the building, they did it the right way. They didn't get arrested. This man managed to get arrested for it because he's not very bright. Now I'm just a family law attorney with less than a year's of experience, but I can see when someone's acting stupid. Running around with a pink dildo, that's also pretty stupid. Courts generally don't agree with that kind of behavior. It makes you look immature. It makes you look like you're causing the problem. Is it illegal? No. Is it indicative of you being less than an upstanding person? Perhaps. It may be. So be careful of people who say that this person lacks the experience and is therefore wrong. Be much more inclined to believe someone who says this person is wrong because of X, Y, and Z, where X, Y, and Z actually address the issue of what the person said. If someone says the sky is blue and another guy says the sky is green, well, you could say, well, the guy who says the sky is blue is right because, we have empirical data saying the sky is blue, the way the sun refracts from the various molecules in the sky, the various vapors absorb these wavelengths more than other wavelengths, etc. Ergo, the sky will appear to be blue. That's a much more credible answer than, well, this guy doesn't have experience as a weatherman, therefore he can't determine what color the sky is. Maybe that particular example wasn't the most amazing, but I think you get the point. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Also, wonder why this man said that they didn't ID when we know, those of us who've seen the live stream, know that Earl did ID. So while he is technically correct, he is also misleading you. Earl ID'd. So keep that in mind. Also wonder why they have to edit it. Think about it. Why does Earl have to edit the video? What is he hiding from you? Because he's hiding something from you. Thank you for watching, and have a Merry Christmas.